Hello, everyone. A warm welcome to the Taevas webinar series. Thank you for your interest and for carving out time from your busy schedules to join us today. I'm Vinayak Verma, a project manager for consumer products, and I'm delighted to be a host for this exclusive webinar organized by Taevas Life Sciences. Firstly, I would like to briefly introduce you to Taevas as a company. Taevas literally translates into sky, which represents the boundless opportunities and limitless potential we provide to clients, enabling them to reach new heights in their business journey. Be it respect to the market access, with respect to the commercialization aspects, be it with respect to the digital presence. We support our clients in all of these manners. Ever since its inception in 2019, Taevas has been a leading market entry specialist company working with multiple small, medium, and large life science companies and within different verticals under the life science industry such as cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, medical devices, food and dietary supplements. Talking about the global presence, Taevas offers services in over 23 countries globally, helping with navigating local market nuances in all of these markets. Taevas also offers its full suite of services in markets like USA, UAE, and India. Our Gulf regional headquarters is located at UAE. The key agenda for today's webinar would be understanding the regulatory market scenario in UAE, which would include some key facts and figures, the regulatory authorities which govern the UAE market, what is the key role of a legal agent or a legal entity in the market, what is the product registration process with Dubai municipality as well as ESMA, what are the validity and the timelines of the registration, the documents required for the registration process. Then we'll move on to the offerings that Taevas has for the UAE market. What would be the key factors which differentiate Taevas from any other competitors out there? What would be the advantage of using Taevas as your LR? One success story to showcase, our presence and our experience in the UAE market. And lastly, we'll answer some of the pre-submitted questions. Talking about the personal care market in UAE, it is a very lucrative and a very attractive market because it is expected to reach a staggering 10.4 billion US dollars by 2028, and it is growing at a very good annual rate of 3.4%. Being a multicultural and multi-ethnicity society, the GCC demographic is remarkably diverse, and this is the reason why it is a very attractive market for any personal care companies to target their brands. Talking about some key facts and figures and some of the reasons which make UAE a very good market for the cosmetics industry is firstly, in general, the global cosmetic care market size is expected to reach $93.8 billion by 2028, and it is growing at an annual rate of 9.4%. In GCC countries like UAE, majority of the working population are expats with high disposable income, and they are not shy to, spend their money on good personal care products, and they are ready to spend anywhere between 700 US dollars to 900 US dollars annually on cosmetics and skincare. However, there are a lot of aspects which are yet to be explored in the market, and that is the main reason why UAE would become a very good market to be targeted and a very lucrative and attractive market for personal care industries. Now that we understand the attractiveness of the market, let's jump on to understanding the regulatory authorities which are prevalent in the UAE market. Firstly, it would be the Ministry of Health and Prevention, and the regulations which come into picture would be the GCC Standardization Organization, which would be the GSO standards. UAE is a part of the Gulf Cooperation countries, which is GCC, along with some other markets like Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. And for all of these GCC markets, the standards and the regulations which would be applicable would be the GSO standards. Compliance with GSO standards would be applicable to the cosmetics industry as well. And meeting these standards often involves testing by a GSO notified body. Once your products are compliant and tested as per any one of these GCC markets, primarily UAE, it would become easy for your products to be compliant in other GCC markets as well. And that is another reason why UAE could be a very attractive market to target within the Gulf region. Now, talking about the regulatory pathway which is to be followed to register your product in the UAE market, the first step to be ensured would be correct classification of the products. The claims and the components of the label would be a key factor here. If your product is claiming to have any therapeutic properties, that would put your product into the drug category and would follow a much expensive and a much lengthier and a costlier route, uh, as opposed to the cosmetics route, which would tend to be much easier and less costly. And that is the main reason why classification would be the first step before you register your product in the market. Second aspect would be appointment of a local representative. Whenever you submit or register your product with the health authority, you need to have a local address on the label. And that is the main area where the local representative becomes a huge mandate. Thirdly, product registration. Now, the product registration in UAE would follow two steps. Firstly, registration of the product in Dubai through Dubai municipality and their portal, which is called as Montaji. And secondly, ESMA registration, which would be for the UAE market, where you would receive the certificate of conformity, which would prove that your products are compliant as per the UAE regulations. Jumping on to one of the most important aspects which would come into picture for registering your products in the UAE market. First, it would be the appointment of legal entity. As a foreign manufacturer, you would not be allowed to sell your product in UAE without a local representative. And some other key requirements for the local representative would be to have a proper trade license in the free zone. And secondly, if you do appoint any importer or distributor, they should have a trade license with cosmetic trading as an activity. This becomes very important because the address that would go on the label would be associated to the legal entity. And without any of these requirements, your product would not be notified or would not be registered as per UAE regulations. Talking about or summarizing the again the key health authorities which would come into picture when you register your products, starting with ESMA, which would be for the UAE market, and secondly Dubai municipality, which would be registration of the products with Dubai. Now let's talk about the DM, the Dubai municipality registration process in much detail. First step would be through to register your products with the Dubai municipality portal, which is the Montaji website. And once your company is registered, you would get a username and a password which you would use to log in into the system. The applications which would come into picture for cosmetic products would be consumer products registration service applications, and you would have to pay a specific fee for the same. Once everything is done, you can enter the required information and upload the requested documents. Once all the documents are uploaded, it would be reviewed by the health authority evaluator. And once a product becomes compliant and fulfills all the local requirements, the system would notify you that the product is registered, and you would receive an electronic registration certificate. The submission mode would be through the online portal as mentioned before. The name of the portal is Montaji. And secondly, the key mandate would be presence of a legal representative whose local address would go on the label during the document submission process as well. Now that the product is registered with Dubai, the second step would be ESMA registration for UAE market. To apply for the certificate of conformity, which would prove the compliance of your product, you would have to upload all the required documents on the portal. The documents would again be reviewed by the health authority evaluators. Once a product fulfills all the compliance requirements, the system will notify the client or the applicator to pay the fees. Once the fees are paid, you would receive a certificate of conformity, which would prove that your product is compliant to be sold in the market of UAE. Now that we understand the registration process and the navigation of the portal and all of the aspects which need to be done for registration, let's understand the registration timelines. For Dubai municipality, it would take anywhere within 2 weeks to complete the registration process and to receive the registration certificate. And for ESMA registration, it would take 4 weeks to receive the conformity certificate. Talking about the validity of registration, The registration of cosmetic product with Dubai municipality is valid for 1 year and this can be renewed annually. And this would be the same for ESMA registration as well. EQM is another factor which goes on the label of the product, which is the Emirates quality mark. And that is something that you have to register as well. And it would be valid for 3 years and can be renewed at the end of this 3 years. And it could be renewed every 3 years, basically. Now let's jump onto the documentation requirements for each of the portals. Although the regulations are quite similar, the document requirements for both of these portals, both of the registrations would be somewhat similar. However, we would like to highlight some of the key documents which would be required for each of these portals, starting with the Dubai municipality. You would require the product label, the GMP certificate, the ingredient list, and some optional documents like laboratory test reports, halal certificate, or the product image. When we talk about ESMA registration, you would require a valid UAE trade license, a username or the password which you received when you register your company, and lastly, a brief description of the manufacturing process. Although this is in very brief, if you would like us to send the entire document checklist to you, you can just reach out to the email ID, which is contact@tavasglobal.com, and we will be happy to send the entire document checklist and support you with the UAE market registration processes. Now that we understand the intricacies about the regulatory pathway for UAE, all the key health authorities which would come into picture, and what are the timelines, the document requirements, let's dive a little bit deeper into how Taevas can help you in the UAE market. Taevas offerings can be divided into three verticals, as you can see on the slide, which would be Global Connect, Commerce Connect, and Digital Connect. Global Connect involves services which help companies in navigating global regulatory requirements and include services like legal representation, product registration, customs clearance, importation, and warehouse support. Commerce Connect would be mainly aimed towards sales enablement once your product is registered in the market. And these would include offerings like product distribution, order and delivery management, cataloging and analysis, and reporting. And lastly, Digital Connect, which would be aimed towards creating a digital presence when it comes to advertising or marketing your product. And this would include offerings like search engine marketing, influencer marketing, content marketing, and competitor analysis. If you would like to have a detailed understanding of one or more of these services, please feel free to reach out to us and we would be happy to set up a call and discuss the same with you. Now that you have an understanding of the Taevas offerings for the UAE market, let's understand what is the advantage that Taevas offers when you compare it to any other company which is out there in this market. Firstly, Taevas can act as your market entry partner, where we can become your legal representative, ensuring legal compliance, identifying distributors in the market, and assisting our clients with developing distributor relationships. Taevas can also act as a commercial partner, where we can act as a centralized distributor in UAE to establish an efficient distribution system, ensuring that products reach every corner of the market. This would increase our visibility of the product as well. And lastly, Taevas can act as an operational partner, where we can build the operations for you, manage it, scale it, and once you are ready to take the business up on your own, we could transfer it to you for you to handle it yourself. This would be done through detailed training sessions. And we could opt for any of these pathways, and this is what differentiates Taevas from any other competitor that is out there. Now, what are some core competencies that Taevas offers while acting as a strategic partner? If you once you're ready to partner with Taevas as a legal representative, these are the key considerations and key competencies that we could offer. Firstly, expertise and experience. Taevas has had a solid experience of working with multiple clients in global markets, which has helped us in understanding local market nuances and can streamline your market entry process. Secondly, Taevas is reputable and reliable. All of the clients, all of the companies that we have worked with previously have given good feedbacks and good testimonials, which shows the excellence in the services that we provide. Thirdly, Taevas operates through a strong local network in global markets, which helps in navigating administrative and regulatory processes very smoothly. Fourth, Taevas believes that communication is key. Every key decision or key change that would be required in the market would be communicated to you well in advance to ensure that you are informed are in control of the regulatory obligations as well. And lastly, we can scale your business and operations in the market and transfer it to you once you are ready to manage it on your own. Or we could manage it for you entirely throughout the life cycle of the product in the market. And this shows how flexible and scalable our services are. Now that we understand Taevas offerings, what are the key competencies, what are the different pathways which would be applicable for UAE and the Dubai market, let's talk about a success story, a case study where we worked with a South Korean personal care manufacturing company to bring their products into the UAE market. A bit about the company. It is a mid-sized personal care manufacturing company which provides manufacturing and packaging solutions to global cosmetics and pharmaceutical companies. And they have worked with not only local companies, but also other multinational companies and are compliant with the ISO regulations as well. Now let's talk about some of the challenges they faced while they were entering the market, as well as the strategic partnership with Taevas and the services that we offered to the client for the UAE market. Firstly, talking about the challenges, they were facing issues with regulatory classification. Now, the product was a borderline product between drug and cosmetics, and the claims that were there on the product were mainly towards the therapeutic end, which made it difficult to classify the product. Secondly, local market requirements were not met. One of the key aspects which would come into picture is presence of a product leaflet. And if you do not have it during the registration process, the health authority would reach out to you during the evaluation process and request for it. And that is something that our client did not have in place. Thirdly, lack of local presence. As mentioned before, legal representative or having a local address with a valid trade license becomes very important when you submit your product for the registration process. And our client did not have any local address or did not have appointed any legal representative in the market. This is when they partnered with Taevas, and the key services that Taevas provided to help make the product compliant as well as helping with the successful launch of the product were firstly, label and claims review, where we were suggesting and tweaking appropriate claims to reclassify the product as cosmetics, which helped in successful registrations in the market. Secondly, artwork support, where we collaborated with local graphic designers to develop appropriate leaflets as a response to health authorities' queries during the registration process. Thirdly, legal representative. Taevas collaborated with the client to act as a legal representative for in the market, since we have a trade license and a local address as well. And we also supported them with importation and warehouse support to hold their products in the market as well. Now, what was the conclusion of this partnership and what were the key results and the advantages that the client received after partnering with Taevas? Firstly, we develop market access strategies and we position the company as an emerging personal care brand in the market, which helped in reducing the approval timelines as well as the costs. Secondly, we developed appropriate marketing claims for the product while adhering to local product regulations, making sure that it is confined within the cosmetics sector. Lastly, we crafted a targeted product launch strategy which included promotional and marketing activities as well. This shows that we supported them in a 360-degree manner, which includes the regulatory aspect of it as well as the marketing side of things. Now, what were the results? The client was able to successfully launch the product into the markets, which made the market entry process much easier and cheaper as well. What were the key outcomes? We received timely regulatory approvals for the products. Secondly, now that the product is compliant as per GSO regulations, it becomes easy for them to target any other GCC markets like Bahrain or Saudi Arabia, which could be some other lucrative markets within the Gulf region as well. And lastly, we have been partnering with them on a long-term perspective to support their global expansion plans. And this is how Taevas Life Sciences collaborated with a personal care manufacturer to navigate all of the market entry challenges and successfully launch a product in the UAE market. This brings us to the end of the webinar. Thank you so much for your patience throughout the webinar. We have received from some pre-submitted questions from you, which we would like to address right now. Firstly, if my product is approved in EU, would it be easier to get approved in UAE as well? Although the registration process and regulations are completely different, a few components can be reused from the EU dossier for the UAE registration as well. However, a lot of the components would require additional reviews, especially some additional documents for the UAE market like halal certificate or the alcohol permissibility limits. Second question, can we freely sell a Dubai approved product in Saudi Arabia? This would not be possible because the product would have to be registered with the Saudi Food and Drug Administration, which is the SFDA, before you can actually sell in Saudi Arabia. However, as mentioned before, Saudi Arabia is also a market which would follow the GSO regulations. So since your product is compliant in Dubai or for that matter UAE, it would become easier for your product to be compliant in Saudi Arabia as well with respect to the GSO regulations. However, there would be some local regulations which would require compliance with and a separate registration process as well. Thirdly, is Arabic translations mandatory? If the label is in English, for example, if you have a label which is compliant as for USA or Europe, it would be easier for you to use that label. However, there would be some mandatory components that would require Arabic translations. Alternatively, you could also completely translate the label into Arabic, and that would also make it sufficient to be compliant as per UAE regulations. Fourth question would be, how will I be benefited to appoint you or Taevas as my legal representative? Now, there are two key advantages that I would like to highlight here. Obviously, foreign manufacturer could appoint importers, distributors, or any other third party as their legal representative in the market, provided that they have a local address, obviously, and provided that they have a valid trade license. However, choosing a third party like Taevas as LR is very advantageous because this would give you the flexibility to appoint multiple distributors and importers under one LR. Secondly, opting for distributors and importers becomes difficult because they handle multiple brands at once. And if the health authority reaches out after the products are placed into the market with respect to any queries or any non-compliance at any point in time, it would become difficult for them to manage the queries as well. Appointing Taevas ensures that your brands are in the hands of an experienced regulatory and strategic team, and we could navigate all of these complexities for you throughout the product lifecycle. This brings us to the end of this webinar. We appreciate your patience and thank you for tuning in with us today. In case of any additional queries or partnership requests, please feel free to reach out to the mentioned email ID, and we would be happy to explore potential synergies with you and clarify any of your queries as well. Thank you, and we wish you a very great day ahead.